All right, let's dive in. Today, we are going on an absolutely incredible journey. Not to some faraway place, but inside your own body, to see what happens to every single bite of food you eat. Welcome to your body's fuel factory. I mean, have you ever really, truly thought about it? You take a bite, you chew, you swallow, and then what? It all feels so automatic, right? But underneath that simple act, your body is firing up this amazingly sophisticated factory, and we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it all works. So to really get this, you got to know the 6 core jobs of your gastrointestinal tract. Think of this as a roadmap for the journey. It's a perfect logical sequence. First, you take the food in, then you have to move it along. Then, you break it down, both physically and chemically. As that's happening, you release special juices to help out. Then you soak up all the good stuff. And finally, you get rid of the waste. Every single step is absolutely crucial. And that journey, well, it starts exactly where you'd expect it to, at the grand entrance. The second that food passes your lips, the entire system just wakes up and gets right to work. Now, you might think all the action happens down in the stomach, but nope. Digestion kicks off the moment you start chewing. And your saliva, it's not just water, not by a long shot. It's this powerful chemical cocktail. You've got enzymes that start breaking down carbs and fats instantly. You've got mucus to make sure everything slides down smoothly. It's even got an antibacterial defense system and stuff to protect your teeth. It is a multitasking marvel all before you even swallow. So once you swallow, the food doesn't just, fall down into your stomach. Gravity helps, sure, but the esophagus takes control with these incredible coordinated muscle contractions called peristalsis. It's like a super efficient biological conveyor belt, actively squeezing and pushing the food down to the next big station. Okay, so our food has been pushed down that conveyor belt and is about to enter the real heart of the factory. This is where the heavy-duty chemical breakdown begins, in the stomach and the small intestine. The best way to picture the stomach is like a high-tech blender. Its muscular walls churn and grind everything up. That's the mechanical part. But at the exact same time, it floods everything with this super acidic gastric juice, launching a full-on chemical assault. So who are the workers on this factory floor? Well, you've got these specialized cells. Parietal cells pump out hydrochloric acid. Yep, acid, which kills germs and gets other enzymes fired up. Then you have chief cells, which release something called pepsinogen. And here's the genius part. The acid from the parietal cells is what activates the pepsinogen, turning it into pepsin, the enzyme that really starts tearing into proteins. And you might be wondering, why doesn't the stomach just digest itself? Well, that's where the mucus cells come in, creating this thick protective barrier. It's an incredible system. So, after a few hours of all that churning and acid bathing, what was once food is now this thick, acidic paste called chyme. And now it is finally ready for the main event. We're talking about the place where most of the digestion and pretty much all of the nutrient absorption is going to happen, the small intestine. But here's the thing. The small intestine doesn't go it alone. It calls for backup. It calls in the digestive dream team. The pancreas sends in this flood of powerful enzymes to tackle everything: carbs, fats, proteins. And the liver, with help from the gallbladder, sends in something called bile, which has one very specific, very important job to do. It's a totally coordinated attack. So let's talk about that really specific job. Your body runs into a classic chemistry problem when it comes to fat. You know how oil and water don't mix? Well, your gut is a very watery place, so fats just want to clump together into these big globules that enzymes can't really get a grip on. Your body needs a trick up its sleeve. And that trick has a name: emulsification. This is where bile gets to be the hero. The bile salts, made by your liver, basically act like dish soap. They get in there and break up those big, useless fat globules into millions of tiny, manageable droplets. This massively increases the surface area for the enzymes to attack. It all happens in this beautiful 3-step process. So, step 1, bile emulsifies the fat, breaking it into tiny pieces. Step 2, now that the fat is all broken up, the enzymes from the pancreas, called lipase, can finally get in there and do their job. And step 3, the digested fats get packaged into these tiny little transport pods called micelles, which can carry them to the intestinal wall to be absorbed. Problem solved. But hang on. How does the stomach know when to release acid? Or how does the gallbladder know it's time to send in the bile? None of this is an accident. The whole factory is managed by this incredibly smart control system, a kind of hidden brain that runs the whole show without you having to think about it for a second. This control system basically has two parts. First, you've got the intrinsic nerves. Think of this as the gut's local brain, the factory manager right there on the wall, making on-the-spot decisions. But then you have the extrinsic nerves. These are the messages from headquarters, your actual brain and spinal cord. They can send a message down to override the local manager and say, hey, speed things up, or okay, let's slow it all down. And on top of the nerves, the gut uses hormones as little chemical messengers. It's like an internal text message system. So when your stomach senses protein, it releases a hormone called gastrin, which basically texts the parietal cells, more acid, stat. When the small intestine detects fat, it sends out CCK, which tells the gallbladder, release the bile. And the pancreas, send the enzymes. And of course, there's ghrelin, the famous I'm hungry signal your stomach sends out when it's empty. Okay, so with all those smart controls making sure everything gets broken down and absorbed, we're finally entering the last stages of the journey. This part is all about processing all that new fuel we've collected, and then cleaning up whatever's left behind. And the very first stop for almost all those absorbed nutrients is the liver. You have to think of the liver as the body's master processing plant. It's like the ultimate quality control and distribution center. It sorts through everything, decides what to store for later, what to send out for immediate energy, and, so importantly, it detoxifies anything harmful before it can get into your system. Anything left over after that, the indigestible stuff, moves on to the cleanup crew, the large intestine. Its main job isn't really about nutrients anymore. It's all about one last critical task: reabsorbing the remaining water and electrolytes and compacting what's left into solid waste for removal. But here's one last totally mind-blowing fact. The large intestine isn't just a waste compactor. It's a bustling ecosystem. It is home to trillions of beneficial bacteria, and they aren't just along for the ride. They are our partners. They work for us, producing essential nutrients like vitamin K that our own bodies can't even make. It's an amazing symbiotic relationship. So from that first bite all the way to the final exit, it is this incredibly detailed, automated, life-sustaining process. A whole factory running inside you 24/7 without a single conscious command from you. The next time you sit down to eat, just think about that for a second. Think about the silent, perfect factory working away inside you. Really makes you wonder, what other incredible systems are running right now, completely without us even knowing?